Good morning, students. Welcome back to the next session of compiler constructions. Well, in the previous session, we have covered regarding the basics on how to calculate the first and follow for a given grammar. In order to perform, the today's topic is on LL1 parsing. That means you have to with the help of LL1 parsing, you have to check whether the given grammar satisfies the LL1 property or not, and we need to generate the parse tree. So before that, in the previous session, I have covered you the concept on first and follow. Okay, so this will be useful to perform, and this will be used in today's session. Okay, so before going to the sessions, all the students should first understand how this first and follow needs to be get performed. Okay, so this is how regarding first and follow. Now what is LL1? Okay, what this LL and 1 indicates? So basically, you know, LL1 parser is a top-down parser. Okay, so here it is predictive parser. So the first L in the given parser, which is using in LL1 parser, indicates that whenever you are reading a string, whenever you're reading the input, okay, because you know you will get a scanner. Okay, you will get the tokens as an input, and you need to generate a parse tree. What is the role of parser? That taking input as an set of tokens and giving a parse tree. So whatever the tokens, whatever the input you will receive, you have to read the input from left towards right. Okay, left to right. This is how the first L indicates. The next L indicates that whenever you are deriving that, whenever a derivation happens, you need to perform from left towards right. Okay, that is left to right derivation. In that sense, the second L indicates. Now what is the 1 indicates here? See, in LL1, the 1 indicates that it uses only a single look ahead. Okay, that means whenever you are seeing the next token, you are seeing only the one token. That's why you are performing one look ahead token. As this one, because of that, it indicates as 1. For example, if you are seeing the next two tokens at the same time, then it will be LL2, so that it can be performed as LL1 of K, where K indicates that how many look aheads you are how many look ahead tokens you are viewing. How many look ahead tokens you are using. So here you are using 1. It indicates that you are using 1 look ahead token. That means whenever you are taking only one symbol, one token, you are taking into consideration in order to check or in order to draw a parse tree. Okay, this is how an LL1 parser indicates. Now the question is that well, in the examination aspect also, you will be getting this question as a very important question. They'll give just a grammar, okay, and they will say you to check whether the given grammar is satisfying the property of LL1 or not. So what you have to do is, the first thing what you have to do is, you have to check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not. And if it is so, if it is LL1 grammar, so definitely you can draw a parse tree. So if the given grammar is an LL1 grammar, then you need to draw a parse tree of the given grammar, because that is the role of a parser, right? Ultimately needs to draw a parse tree. So now what we are taking in this session is, we are taking one example here. We are taking a set of grammar, set of production, which is your grammar, and we are seeing whether can we consider, can we say the given grammar is LL1 or not. And if it is so, we will try to draw a parse tree of the given grammar. So here there's an example here, but before going to example, there are some steps which we need to perform in order to perform this procedure. The very first step in this one is, whenever a given grammar which is given, now if you see here, the given grammar, this grammar, this is what your given grammar. Now this given grammar, you have to see whether it is whether it is there is a need to perform, there is need to eliminate left factoring or not, and where there is a need to eliminate left recursion or not. So in this grammar, one thing you can observe that there is no need to eliminate left factoring because there is no concept of left factoring in this one. Why? Because if you observe carefully, what you can find here is here this is my E, and here E is there, and here T is there. For example, here E, and instead of T, if here E will come, then you can say that there is a left factoring. So there is a need to eliminate that left factoring, and this left factoring also I have covered before this concept. So once you can verify this left factoring process, that what is the left factoring is whenever we have a true production for the same non-terminal, like here, if you observe this line, if you observe this line carefully, what is going to happen is that this alpha and this alpha, that means what happened, the first symbol is same here in both of the cases. So what we have to do is that you have to eliminate this left factoring, but according to the given example which is there right now, in this example there is no need for elimination of left factoring. Only what we have to say is left recursion. Okay, here there is left recursion. How can you say that it is left recursion? Left recursion means the same symbol is recursively get repeated. Okay, the same symbol, like for example, what is the grammar here is E plus T, or what is that, T is there, right? So how can you say that it is left? Let us just see what the problem will exist if you are trying a parse tree. Here E is there, here plus is there, and here again T is there. Now instead of taking T, if I again take as E plus T, again if I find that E plus T. So one thing you can observe here is that ultimately what you are getting as E plus T asterisk means multiple number of T's are coming. In this way the parse tree is generated. That means recursively it is calling again E, right? So this is how left recursion problem arises in the given grammar. So what you have to do is that you have to eliminate this left recursion. Now there is a question that how can you eliminate left recursion? So one thing what you can observe here is whenever you want to eliminate left recursion, like here we have in this case. So if you see there, this T is a single non-terminal, right? So whenever you have to take is that you have to take E as, in this line, E as T will be taken because T is exist in both the production. That means E is equals to E of E plus T and E of T. So here E of T is there. So first we have taken T, and instead of E we have taken E dash. What we have taken as E dash, and this E dash, what we have to take then in E dash, because there is no such production E dash here, but you have to take in order to eliminate left recursion. So whenever you are taking E dash, so what is left over here? What is left over here? You have to take plus T. So here I am taking what? Plus T here, and apart from that I have to take E dash as well. So this is how the procedure which we need to follow while eliminate left recursion. And in the other side only T is there, but this T has already been taken in E. So here there is no such value, simply I have taken epsilon, which is null. So the same case even exists in the second production, the same problem. This is about the first production. In the second production also, what is happening is that t will be repeated recursively. That means t can get called recursively. So what is going to happen, that again if you observe in this second production, f in f is there in both of this production. So what I am taking is, in this first line, t of f I have taken, because this f is common in both the production, and instead of taking t here, I am just taking t dash, like as I have taken here e dash, in the same way I have taken here as t dash. So f t dash I have taken now. Now this for t dash, what we have to take here, similarly how you have taken plus here, in the same case you have to take as into here. And in the after plus, what is the next symbol? T is there, and here similarly here after a multiplication symbol, what is that? F. So asterisk f I have taken, and same thing I have taken t dash as like as I have taken in e dash, and here or epsilon. Why epsilon? Because this f, because in the second production of f, which is already there here f, so f has already been taken into consideration, so there is no need to take f again here. So that's why I'm taking as epsilon here. So now this grammar has been eliminated by left recursion. And if you observe here and if you draw the parse tree, I mean we shouldn't draw right now, because first we need to see whether the given this grammar is LL1 or not. So I mean even if you draw it, so you won't get such problem like as you have faced in the given grammar. So in examination there are two aspects. If they have given the direct grammar, which is this part, if they have given this, then you have to check whether it is having a problem of left factoring or not. If left factoring is there, you need to eliminate left factoring. And if the grammar is left recursion, I mean if the grammar contain left recursion, then you need to eliminate both of that, and finally you have to get this grammar. Or else what happens, directly in examination they will give you this set of grammar completely. So in this grammar there is no need of performing the step 1, because already you know this grammar is a this given grammar is eliminated through left recursion, and there is no left factoring as well. Now what is the third production? The third production is simple. Okay, there is no such problem which exists in the first two production. That's why you are taking in the third line as like as that only. So this is how the step 1 needs to perform. It means that you need to eliminate left recursion. So this is my first step. Now using this grammar, what I have to do is I have to find out first and follow. See, for this first and follow, I have already covered in the last session. So that's why I'm saying you to verify this, the last session. In the last session, the same grammar, just now what I have taken right now is the same grammar itself here. And you have to perform all of this procedure first and follow, and ultimately you need to get this. This is how the summary table, which shows for which non-terminal whether the given non-terminal is nullable or not. I said you, what do you mean by nullable? Nullable in the sense that if a normal non-terminal have an epsilon value, then it is having S as nullable. If it is nullable, no means there is no epsilon, there is no such production which ends with epsilon. No indicates. And S indicates what? That E dash, that means what you can say, that E dash of epsilon. Okay, because there is a null production here. In the same way, here also T dash of epsilon here, because S indicates that it is nullable. Nullable means whenever an epsilon comes over in the production while you're deriving with the help of a non-terminal, given non-terminal, then it is nullable. But here, as it is not nullable, so there is no such production. So that's why this is nullable, and this is first. What is the first symbol and what is the follow of that? So you have to verify the last session for this. So directly I'm going to the steps 2, and this is how I have derived this with the help of the previous example which I covered in the last session. So here I got the same thing. What I have taken here is what I have taken as non-terminals. You have to take non-terminals. What are the set of non-terminals in the given grammar, and you have to check whether the given non-terminals are nullable or they are not nullable. So you need to write like this, and apart from that you need to write the first and the follow of the given non-terminal. Okay, so using this first and follow, we have to proceed for the next step, which is step 3. In the step 3, what you have to do is, using that first and follow table, you need to create a parsing table. Now this is very important here. This is how the specialty in this LL1 parsing is that you will be having a separate parsing table. With the help of this parsing table, you are supposed to implement a stack based implementation, and using that stack based implementation you need to generate a parse tree. So first, this is how my first and follow. Remember, now what I have to do is that I have to create a parse table. Whenever I have to create a parse table, remember what I have to put here is, this is NT represents for non-terminals. So what are non-terminals? E dash, T dash, F are what the non-terminals. Now here I have to take the symbols, okay, what you can say as tokens. Okay, you have to say as tokens here. So look ahead, it is just LL1 represents for one look ahead. That means one symbol it looks. Okay, so here what is this here is that all are what tokens here: id, num, your plus, multiplication, opening bracket, closing bracket, and dollar symbol. Okay, so these are what the set of tokens, and this is in this one, these are non-terminals: E dash, T dash, T dash, and F. Now what we need to check here is that how we need to create the parse table. That's a very important point now, which we need to learn right now. Is that first you have to see that when ID at what production ID can be generated with the help of E. So we need to verify here. So what you have to check here is that in this one, if you look in this one, yes, what is that symbol? ID. Okay, so here whenever an ID comes, number comes, okay, you have to refer the first. So for first, what are the symbols, what are the tokens here in E? Opening bracket, ID, and number, that is num. So there are 3 tokens. Okay, so these 3 tokens, what are these 3 tokens? ID, number, and opening bracket. So in these 3 tokens only we need to take the values. What we have to take the values? We have to take the production in such a way that you are going to generate ID, you have to going to generate number, and you have to take as the first as this one, opening bracket. So how you have to take here? You have to take by the procedure. You have to see E as which production? TE dash. Only E is associated with what? TE dash. So simply I'm taking here as E is associated with E, TE dash, TE, E of TE dash, and E of TE dash. Only why I'm taking 3? Because the first, that means what is the first of E is 3 symbols. So this 3 symbols, in that only I'm taking this production, which is associated with E. This production I have taken now. Now going to the next line, E dash. In E dash, there are 2 things. The first thing is that there is one symbol called plus, which is first, and it is also nullable. Nullable means it is coming epsilon, right? So first we will see for plus. So in plus, where is plus? In this plus. So E dash. So what is the production of E dash? This is my production. Okay. Now there are 2 production here, E dash of plus TE dash and epsilon. So which I have to take? I have to take this one. Why I have to take this one? Because by this production only I can get plus, right? So I have to take this production. I shouldn't take this one. So that's why I'm taking here as E dash is equals to plus TE dash. I have taken now in this one. Now there is a twist here. What is the twist? Is that it is nullable. So whenever a given non-terminal is nullable, you have to check the follow of that non-terminal as well. So now as it is nullable, So how, where it is followed? It is followed by dollar. It is followed by closing bracket. So now this is closing bracket and dollar. So which production? Nullable means E dash of epsilon. E dash of epsilon. Right? Why? Because these are for follow. For what I have taken, these are for follow. Why I am? Because this E dash is nullable. That's why we have to take in this case. Now next is next symbol T. If you go with the non-terminal T, it is not, it is what you can say, that it is not nullable. So that means you shouldn't consider follow, just you need to consider first. In first there are three symbols, I mean there are three tokens, opening bracket, ID and number. So there are three tokens here. What is that? Opening bracket, ID and number. So there are three tokens here I have taken. Why? Because it contains opening bracket, ID and number. So I have taken here as opening brackets here, ID and number. And for T, you need to verify which production is there. Only we have one production. What is that? T is of ft dash. T of ft dash. So T of ft dash means here you have to take here T of ft dash. In this one you are taking T of ft dash, again you are taking here, and again you are taking here. Okay, so in this way you are taking T. Now I'm going to the T dash. Now if you observe T dash, it is nullable. Nullable means it contains, what is that? T dash of epsilon, right? So there are that means first we need to see the first. The first is only multiplication operator is there, and again as it is nullable, so you need to perform the follow symbols. So what are this? Dollar, closing bracket, plus. So first we will see the first. So in dollar T dash, if you go for T dash, there are two production. What is that? T dash of dollar ft dash and again T dash of epsilon. So for multiplication we have to go with this production only. You cannot go for this one, right? So I'm just writing here as, where, what is that? Here T dash is equals to asterisk of ft dash. Now the follow. For follow, three symbols are there: plus, closing bracket, dollar. So plus, so plus means I have to take which now? I have to take this one, the second one. So T dash of epsilon. So in all of these three we have to take this one, T dash of dollar, T dash of epsilon, T dash of epsilon, as well as T dash of epsilon. So in this way T dash you have taken. Now what is the final thing is that F. Now in F you have to be very careful. Why? Because in F it is not nullable, of course, so there is no need to perform the follow of F. Only you have to go with first. So in first there are three symbols: opening bracket, ID and number. So now there are three productions. What is that? F of E, F of ID and F of number. So now for ID, which I have to take? I have to take this production, F of ID. For number I have to take F of number, and for opening bracket I have to take F of E. So in this way I am creating a parsing table. So this is how a parsing table, which we have created with the help of first and follow and with the help of given set of productions. So based on that we have created a parse tree. So this is what your step 3. Now going to the next step is what your stack implementation. So stack implementation is very important. We need to understand that, okay, before stack implementation, by this parsing table only we can say that it is LL1 or not. How? Why? Because for example, if you see here, in every boxes you may find only one production. Okay, there is no that means only it contains one production, so it doesn't contain more than one productions. So if you find such condition that in every boxes, okay, whichever in the parse table which we have created, it means that if you find only one production, like here E as TE dash, and if suppose if you have taken another production here, then that is a different case. But in this example, what is the thing is that either in this box or in this box and every boxes you are finding only one production. So if that is the case, then you can say that it is the given grammar is LL1. What you can say here is the given grammar is LL1. So by this parsing table only, one can say that we can check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not. So in examination, for example, if they have asked you only to check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not, then it is okay if you draw a parsing table. Up to this only it's sufficient, because by this table only you can get a clarity that it is an LL1 grammar. Okay, it is LL1, it is satisfying the property of LL1. But in examination, if they say to you that you have to check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not, and you need to draw a parse tree, then what you have to do is that even after creating a parse table, by this parse table only will come to know that it is LL1, right? But still you need to draw a parse tree on that. So you need to go to the next step. So it depends on the question, how the question have been asked. Okay, generally they may ask you to draw a parse tree as well, because they may ask you in long answer question. So this is by this grammar, by this parsing table, yes, we can say that it is LL1 grammar. Okay, now what is this is the next step is stack implementation. So for stack implementation, now I am taking an input. So this is an input which I need to satisfy whether this input is satisfying or not. How can you check whether the given input is satisfying by the given grammar or not? So you have to take in this way. Initially, what is the start symbol of the given grammar? That is E. So I have taken E, and you have to take dollar here. And here also ID plus ID into ID. So you have taken ID plus into ID dollar. So finally, what you have to do is that you need to achieve at the end, you need to achieve dollar and dollar at the both the side. If that is the case, then you can say that the given string is satisfying by the given grammar. If that is not the case, that means this string is not satisfying. That means for the given string, you cannot generate a parse tree. Okay, because you have to generate a parse tree. So for generating a parse tree, we require a string. We require an expression. So here we have taken an expression called ID plus ID into ID. And I need to check whether the given expression, with the help of this given expression, can I draw a parse tree for the given grammar or not? So for that, we have to use stack implementation. So here we have taken this table. So initially what we have taken is this in this one. So this is my first step. Initially I have taken start symbol. Now what is E stands for? You can go with this product. E means E of TE dash, right? So I have taken here as E of TE dash with the which production you have taken, and you have to take this production column here. Now these productions are helpful in order to draw a parse trees. So these productions are very, very important, because with the help of these productions only you can draw a parse tree. So which production you have taken? E of TE dash. So here you have taken TE dash dollar. Now next is first symbol, because here it is, you are always seeing from the left side, towards from the left side. So what is the first symbol? T. So for T, which production is there? You have to take T is of FT dash. So here you have taken FT dash and E dash as like as that, and dollar. Again this will be as like as this only. Okay, with this production is very important. With the help of whom, which production you are taking, you may change, you are doing the changes on the stack. So that is most important here. Now F goes for ID, right? Because there are certain productions, right? F, you can go with the last F of E, F of ID, or F of number. So here you can go with f of id. So you have taken this production, and instead of f you are writing id here, id t dash e dash dollar, and here you have taken id plus id into id dollar. Okay, now you need to cancel this id and id. This id and this id get cancelled, and what will be remained now? T dash e dash dollar. Why? Because this id and this id are same, so you have to cancel them in order to check, in order to get finally dollar and dollar. So here T dash e dash dollar plus id into id dollar. So here there is no production because we have cancelled id and id. Now for T dash, which production you have to take? Epsilon. Okay, so whenever you are taking an epsilon, there is no need of changing here. Simply you have to remove T dash from the given stack. So simply what you have taken, e dash dollar, and this will be as it is. Okay, next line, in this line again, what is that here is this, that e dash. For e dash, what production you can take? Plus te dash. So which production I am taking? Plus te dash I am taking here. So this productions which we have taken previously, from that only you have to take plus te dash. So I am taking here as e dash, instead of e dash I am taking plus te dash dollar and plus id star id dollar. Now this plus and this plus get cancelled. This plus and this plus can get cancelled. So what is remained now? Te dash dollar id into id dollar. So no need of any production here because you are cancelling plus symbol. Now again for t, what is t production? T is of ft dash. So here I am taking ft dash and e dash dollar. Again id into id, same thing I have taken. Now for f, again I am taking id here, right? Because previously also I have taken id. So because we need to get id, so id t dash e dash dollar id into id dollar. So now this id and this id can get cancelled because these are the same and they are the first position, so you can cancel them. What is remained now? Remained is t dash e dash dollar and star id dollar. Now for the next thing is that t dash. So for t dash, which production you are taking? Star ft dash. So instead of t dash I am writing as star ft dash e dash dollar and star id dollar. So again star and star can cancel. So what is remained now? ft dash e dash dollar and id dollar. Okay, again f, what is f? You have taken id. So here id t dash e dash dollar and id dollar. So here id and id get cancelled. So what is just remained now? It remained as t dash e dash dollar, and here it is remained as dollar only. In the input side it is completed, but stack also needs to be get dollar, right? So we have to perform whether is there any possibility. Yes, there is a possibility that t dash of epsilon means simply you are removing t dash and you are getting e dash dollar dollar. Again next production for e dash dollar, e dash of epsilon, you are removing again e dash. So finally what is remained? Dollar and dollar. So as both of them are same, that means this input is satisfying to the given grammar, and with the help of the given grammar you can generate a parse tree to derive the given string, to derive the given expression, that is id plus id into id. So now this given production what we have taken needs to obtain here. So this is my step 5. In step 5 I have taken this, all of this production. Now I have to draw a parse tree of the given set of production. So what is the first production here? The first production is e of t e dash, right? And again for t, what is that? F t dash, right? and again f. What is f now? id. So you have to open this. So you got id. Id means it is terminal, so needs to get completed. When again t dash. Okay, so here t dash, what is t dash? Epsilon. So here I am taking epsilon. Now what is this? Next is e dash is there. So in e dash, what you have to take now? You need to draw the parse tree. So here you are taking plus t and e dash, right? You have taken in this way. Now t is there, so t means again you have to take as ft dash, f t dash and e dash. Again for f, what is this? F means id, so id plus id you got. Again t dash is there, so for this t dash you have to take here as, what is that? Asterisk f and t dash. Now what is f? Means id, and t dash means epsilon, and e dash means again epsilon. So you have got the given expression. Now this is your parse tree. How? id, this is epsilon, id plus id into id, because this is our epsilon, right? So what you got? id plus id into id. So here we have generated a parse tree, right? So this is how you have to draw whenever they may ask you. So in this way the parse tree will be get generated. Okay, so this is the last step probably to draw a parse tree, because ultimately what is the role of parser? The role of parser is to get a parse tree from the given tokens, set of tokens, from the given set of productions, tokens. And the more thing is that here you uses parsing table. Three things are there here, okay, for LL1 parser. What is that? The first is the token, set of tokens. The second thing is a set of productions, I mean grammar. And the third thing is this parsing table. So with the help of this parsing table and all of this, you are generating a parse tree. Okay, so this is how the top down approach, and this is about LL1 parsing method. Okay, so with this we have completed today's session. Thank you.